Hello, and welcome to the Core Dog Experience. Here talking Ohio State Buckeyes and talking college sports in general. So as you're feeling what you're hearing, please hit that like button and please subscribe. Trying to grow this thing out, help a brother out. With that said, let's get into it. Ohio State, Purdue. The game finally went like it was supposed to go. We did what we were supposed to do. For once. We did it in the manner we were supposed to do it in. I'll put it like that. We did it the way we thought it should be done, and they did it. Did it 45-0 shutout of Purdue. And that's what we expected. 38-point favorites. They went 45-0. That's what we wanted to see. That's what we expected to see in this type of game. We want to see no letdown following the Penn State game last week. We didn't want to see him come out and lay an egg. We wanted to see him come out and do exactly what they did, not play to the level of the competition. And they did not do that. Good teams, championship caliber teams, do not play down to the level of their competition, do not play up to the level of their competition. They play the same way regardless of the competition, and that's what we wanted to see in particular with this game. Are we going to take a step back, pay a level to a competition, or are we going to see these guys lay it down on Purdue the way we think or thought they should have laid it down, and was the latter. They laid it down like we thought and expected them to do. So yes, kudos to them. 45-0. It was a methodical blowout. Not a lot of big plays. It was just a methodical blow. It wasn't even a beatdown. It was just a blowout. Defense was suffocating, but offensively, we just did what we did. Just ran our offense like it was a scrimmage almost, and it was just a boring blowout if there ever is such a thing. And I loved every minute of it. Got to finally sit back and relax. Haven't been able to do that for a couple weeks. Just sit back, relax, and watch the game. When's the last time we were able to do that? Just sit back and relax and watch the game and not worry about the outcome. I take games like this all the time. I take games like this all the time. I don't need to be stressing. Here's how I say you're going to win or not. Just come out, handle your business like they did, so I can enjoy my weekend like I did. But they did what they were supposed to do against teams like Purdue. For once, they did it. They did it. They handled their business. And again, it starts with the defense. The defense. Ever since the Oregon game, the defense has been on point. Penn State at Happy Valley, shut them out offensively. Penn State could not score on offense, and we expected the same today. Maybe not the shutout, but blowout nevertheless. But hey, our boys got the shut out, aided in part by Purdue missing 2 field goals. But we got the shutout nevertheless. And one of those field goals, I think it goes back to those goal line stands we had the previous 2 weeks. Purdue was inside the 5-yard line, were they not? Instead of going for it on 4th down, they opted for the points. I thought that was weird because, you were underdog. What you got to lose? What you got to lose? They just wanted to get on the board because we had the 2 goal line stands, not even counting one against Oregon where we shut them down on 4th down as well. So talking about 3 weeks in a row we had goal line stands. Purdue was like, nah, we going to go for that field goal, dog, and we just going to get some points. Lo and behold, homeboy missed the field goal because they are too scared to go for it on 4th down. That's what happens sometimes. You get them goal line stands. Purdue was not confident in going for it on 4th down inside the 5. And then later on in the game, they opted for another field goal. And the kicker got one job. He failed both times. One was a short, like I said, short field goal, 20-some yard. One may have been a bit longer, but he missed them both, helping Ohio State get that shut out. I will take it all day, every day. Defense did their part. The defense did their part. Again, they were on point, and they dominated the team like Purdue, like they were supposed to do. Not only did the defense dominate, special teams stepped up and got a block punt. Got a hand on it. It wasn't a full, complete 100% back in your face type of block, but they got a hand. They got their hand on it. First block punt, I believe, in a couple years. Take it, set up the short field. Boom, Ohio State scores like they want to do once they get inside the red zone. Talking about a red zone offense. Ohio State, I think they are the best this year at being in the red zone, but special teams stepped up. Let's stay on that defense. The defense, again, 8 straight quarters of shutout football. Can we do it against Northwestern too? Or that asking too much? That asking too much might be asking too much, but shut out Penn State offensively. No small feat there. Doing it in Happy Valley. Kudos to the defense. And then again, shut out again. It's hard to shut out any team offensively, let alone for 8 straight quarters. And Ohio State has done it. They got their butts rung up in that following that Oregon game. But since then, even against Nebraska, since Nebraska had some opportunities to score, they couldn't score as much as they should have, thanks in part to the defense. And then we got the Penn State and Purdue. Offense couldn't score on us. Offense could not score on our defense. Again, had some short fields to work with. Had some more penalties defensively they had to overcome on a couple of occasions. One of them being, my man. He's a good corner, but I said, Grabby Igmanosin. I call him Grabby because he will grab the hell out of his receivers, and he did it again. Last week against Penn State, he made up for it. He got his own INT. He got his own interception, was probably the best interception of the year. But he made up for that one, and the defense bailed him out again. He got the pass interference call. Wasn't as grabby as he normally does, but you could tell it was pass interference. It was a good call. Very next play, just like last week, we turn around and get the interception. This time courtesy of Jordan Hancock. Interception in the end zone. He brought it out. Nice little run. Boom. Saved the day there. Defense again had a chance to get off the field. Had a chance to get off the field. Bonehead penalty by true freshman Edric Houston. He came in to be an end. They moved him down into the inside, and he got the start, yo. Got the start for Tyleik Williams, who they held out. I'm glad they did, because realistically, did we really need Tyleik against Purdue? If we really needed him against Purdue, then something was wrong. The coaching staff felt better. Now it's Purdue rest up, get fully healthy, and we'll see you we'll see you next week maybe against Northwestern. We may just not see him again until we get to Indiana. Who knows? But they didn't need him against Purdue. Bottom line, they started the freshman, Edric Houston. Had a good game, had some good pressures. Bonehead penalty. It was bonehead penalty, and like the other linemen were telling him, it's a learning experience. I guess the dude laid on him a little bit longer than Edric wanted them to. He got up and he let the guy know. Gave him a good little shove in front of the referee. Unsportsmanlike conduct. Defense goes, offense keeps the ball. They go down there, and again, thankfully the defense held up, and our boy missed another field goal. He missed that second field goal, so thus preserving the shutout. The backups came in, like I said last week. If we're not having the Julian saying Derek Brown sightings by Devin Brown sightings by the fourth quarter, then something is wrong with this game. Devin Brown and Julian Sayin should be playing by the fourth quarter. I said it last week. Devin Brown and Julian Sayin were playing by the fourth quarter. Your boy called it. Yes, I did. And they played their butts off. By the fourth quarter, starters were done. Like I predicted, like I thought it should go. And again, it went the way we felt it should go. And you had Julian Sayin in there and Devin Brown in there running the quarterback. Had a lot of backups in there by the time the fourth quarter started. And they were able to preserve the shutout as well. So kudos to the whole team in general. It was just a good all-around effort from all three phases: offense, defense, special teams got in on the act. So good team effort, something to build on, keep that momentum building to close out this year. Need to do it again against Northwestern and get ready for Indiana, who's going to be coming off a bye week. When we had that matchup, going to be a top 5 matchup. We're going to get into some of that later on, but they got to keep it going against Northwestern. No letdowns, but the defense did they thing. Edric, lay off the penalties, dude. Don't be pushing. Other than that, defense was pretty much flawless. But I hope they get rid of that little 3-man front, or don't run it as often as they did. I know Purdue may have been the perfect team to run it against, to try it out against. Y'all know the 3-man front, they tried it out there. Left big gaps along the defensive line, and Purdue took advantage of. They saw the 3-down linemen, and they just immediately ran the ball, and they were getting good chunk plays on the running game. Against solely passing teams, I guess that'll work, but I didn't like that look. Not for as long as they ran it. It didn't work in the first half. They went back to it in the second half for I think a series or two, and they quickly got out of it because Purdue saw it to their credit and just ran the ball. And we're getting 8 to 10 yards a chunk. So that might defense. They said that's a defense Jim Knowles ran at the Big 12, which they just throw the ball around a lot, not a heavy running. Not too much running went on in the Big 12 during Jim Knowles' era, but that ain't going to work here in the Big 10, where teams are more prone to run the ball than throw it for the most part. So I'm glad they tried it. They switch it up. I say Saban got in the ear a couple weeks ago, and they tried some different stuff, which I ain't mad at them from trying some different stuff. But when it ain't working, time to get rid of it. Trot it out every now and then to get offense of different looks, but when it ain't working as consistently as it wasn't working in that first half, don't do it again in the second half. Purdue had to figure it out. Don't do it. But the defense, all in all, they are playing their butts off. Hope they keep it up. I'm liking some of the new faces we've seen out there. Jordan Hancock, some of that rotation. Our safeties are on point. Caleb Downs on point. Our corners are having a... So ever since that Oregon game, Oregon got some receivers, yo. They got some receivers, and they exposed our boys a little bit. Grabby Igmanosin, he's going to get you let's just get used to it. He's going to have at least one PI a game. It is what it is. They are able to overcome it the last 2 games, but we know he's going to have one against Northwestern. You know he's going to have some against Indiana, maybe 2. So just be prepared for Igmanosin to have some pass interference calls coming up on him, because that's what he do. Mittens or not in practice, he going to grab him some receivers. Period. So let's just I'm preparing you now for when those PI calls come against Iggy. Grabby Igmanosin is going to get him some PI calls, but we made it. We were able to account for it the last 2 weeks. The offense, like I said, just not a whole bunch of explosive plays. They just went about their business. And did what we expected the offense to do against this type of defense. Of course, the star of the game, when it's all said and done, Will Howard had him a good game, but we know what all the eyes were on. We know the record watch was on, and our boy didn't disappoint. Jeremiah Smith had him a nice game. I don't know if they targeted him on purpose, but he led the team in targets, led the team in catches, and of course had the yards, and of course he had the touchdown. And what did that all lead to? He got all the records. Freshman, receiving touchdowns by a freshman, receiving catches by a freshman, receiving yards by a freshman, all belong to Jeremiah Smith. Well, when the season started, it wasn't a matter of if, but just a matter of when, and what better way to do it at home in front of your folks to get all the records. And just a phenomenal receiver, great get, best freshman in the he don't win freshman of the conference or freshman if they got a nationwide thing for freshman of the year. Ryan Williams is good, but he ain't Jeremiah Smith good. Yeah, I'm being biased. Ryan Williams is a bad boy, but we got Jeremiah. I'm so glad we got him. We had him a good game. They couldn't cover him. And his touchdown pass, he just flat out outran the dude on the crossing route, caught the ball, and just untouched him to the end zone. But kudos to him. Those records will probably stand a long time, but who knows? The way we bring in receivers, who knows? Every time we say that, then someone come on a year or two later and they bust all the records. So, and hopefully that'll be the case. Hopefully that'll be the case. Someone will come along who will be able to break all of Jeremiah's record, but the boy is bad. Period. Kudos to him and the offense in general. They just had a very good, efficient day. Well, Howard looked good, made good reads, had a lot of time. He had time to throw, didn't get pressured too often. Do believe he had the one, gave up the one sack I think they have, but for the most part, the line, our makeshift line, can't call it makeshift because the line is what it is at this point. It ain't gonna be makeshift again unless somebody get hurt. But Will Howard looked good. He had time to throw the ball, but they gotta do something for my boy's cleats. It's like every game now he slipped at least once or twice and costing us some big yards if he just was able to keep his feet. And he did it again. He had a slip right there by the goal line. We were able to make up for it though. He was able to go in and cash in a couple plays later, but I don't know if it's the surface at Ohio State, but Will Howard slipped at least once or twice a game and cost us some big yardage. Now he say he's gonna change his cleats. I hope so. Change your cleats and go out there and run up and down that Ohio State turf and find out what cleats work so you ain't gonna be slipping, costing us, because he has some walk-in stuff. He just stay on his feet. He slipped in like at least 2-3 games in a row now. He done slipped, costing us some big yards. Change your cleats. Change your got to change your cleats, man. Do so. But for the most part, he looked good, efficient. My one got a nitpick. I've been saying it for a couple weeks now. I'm gonna be on him and his deep ball throwing, like I was on C.J. Stroud in his unwillingness to run. I'm sorry. C.J. Stroud would not run. And whatever it is, Will Howard cannot throw a good deep ball. He did it again. He did it. He got it. At least once a game, he underthrow his receivers on these deep balls. He a touchdown. He got one of the leads in touchdown passes. But you know how many more he would have if we just hit our receivers in stride on some of these deep balls? I don't know what it is. Does he not have the arm strength? I don't know what it is. He always underthrows these deep balls. Carnell Tate had 2, 3, 4 steps on the guys. Will Howard, ain't like he was getting pressured when he threw the ball. He had time to wind up, cock his arm, and let it go. He don't be letting it rip. I said, you're not going to overthrow these guys if you can hit them in full stride. He overthrew JJ last week. Jeremiah slowed down thinking he was going to underthrow it. At least that's my opinion. Jeremiah, he gonna underthrow this one, and Lord forbid, that's the one time Will Howard threw it deep the way it's supposed to. Reverted right back to him underthrowing on the deep ball again. Now again, either he doesn't have the arm strength to make these deep throws, or he's just not a good deep ball thrower. Out of the last quarterbacks we've had, Stroud, Haskins, Fields, he's not a good deep ball thrower compared to those three, and I don't know what you got to do to become a better deep ball thrower, but he needs to start doing it. You need to start doing it to be able to take the lid off some of these guys so they're not going to start pressuring up on our running game. But that's my only nitpicking about Will Howard. But other than that, he's having a phenomenal year. You compare it to some of these other quarterbacks and what they're doing. He's having him a good year. And a lot of it, their offensive line, I ain't going to call it makeshift no more. I think Hinsman has fit in very well. And Jackson, all-star guard, moving out to tackle. Is he an upgrade over Simmons? Playing out of position? I mean, talent is talent. Once he's making the adjustment, he's out there now. Again, it's not the Carter dude from Penn State that got around him a couple times, but he's fitting in pretty well. The offensive line seems to be gelling. And Heisman, he played center last year, so it's not like you're giving up a lot of experience moving Jackson out and Heisman in. Maybe a little on the talent-wise thing between Jackson and Heisman, but Heisman, he has experience. Moved over to the guard, and I think he's fit in adequately well, better than probably most people expected. So you can imagine the gas when he went down. It's like, oh no. And it's that side of the line again. It's like, oh, it was like we just got the line working again, and he went down again. When they showed the replay, someone hit him. I always feel better when it's a contact versus no contact. It's just no contact ones when they go down that just leave you like, yeah, this is something serious. If it's no contact and the player goes down holding his leg, then yeah, most likely they ain't coming back for a while. But if there's contact on the knee or something in the leg area, there's a chance. Not always, but there's a chance that it's not as serious as it looks. And that turned out to be the case. They showed him few minutes later, he on the sideline laughing it up and gave a shout out to the knee brace. Like someone said, give this knee, was it Donjoy, whatever the brace was. They need to get homeboy NIL deal or something, cause gave them a free shout out on the camera when they panned right to him. He said, "Thank God for Donjoy knee brace. Give Carson an NIL deal, Donjoy, cause he gave y'all some props live on air, free marketing. Give the man a NIL deal." But the O-line, and just cause he's playing. He got out the doghouse, whatever doghouse he may have been in, and he's playing his butt off. The offensive line in general is playing really, really well. When's the last time that our offensive line didn't have any false starts? Simmons caused a lot of those false starts. Let's be honest. He could block, but he'd get you a false start or two a game. But but since he's been out, I don't think no false starts and no holding calls. I don't think there was did we have a holding call against Penn State? I don't think we even had one against Penn State. I could be wrong, but I know we didn't have one against Purdue. That I agree. I don't think we had one against Purdue. Correct me if I'm wrong. But when's the last time we could say that about our offensive line? No false starts and no holding calls, and they blocked their butts off on some of those crossing patterns. Well, Howard had all day to wait for the pattern to develop. His touchdown to G. Scott, he sat back there all day. Even G got a little bit of blocking in before he released, wide open. Thought he had time to throw, survey the field. By the time Scott released his block and broke out, he is wide open, walked into the end zone. That is good. So Howard had him a good day. O-line had a good day. The team in general had a good day. It's hard to say a lot when you go up 45-0 and you shut the opponent out. I don't care who the opponent is. It's hard to shut someone out, period. And they did it. They did what they're supposed to do. But still, and people gonna let you know, but it was Purdue. Yeah, we know it was Purdue, damn it. But they did what they're supposed to do against Purdue. Just give them their props and move on. Everybody know it was Purdue. They did what they're supposed to do against Purdue. They did what they're supposed to do. We know it. You ain't got pointed out, oh, it was Purdue. We ain't got here. Just congratulate them on doing what they're supposed to do. And it wasn't a game like Nebraska. Because they're supposed to do this against Nebraska and they didn't do it. And people got all bent up in arms. So when they do what they're supposed to do, we give them their props for it and move on and get ready for the next game. We ain't got to be a negative Nancy all the time, even though they do what they're supposed to do. Because if they hadn't done what they were supposed to do, y'all be whining and crying. Give them what they're supposed to do and just give them their props for it and move on. We know it's Purdue. We know their level of competition. You ain't going to play a top 5 team every time, but when you play these type of teams, the show that they put on, you supposed to put it on them like they put it on them, and be happy with it. We ain't got this but stuff. The crowd, I don't know what they be wanting sometimes. 45-0, but it's Purdue. Yeah, it's Purdue, but they did what they supposed to do against Purdue. That was Purdue, and they did what they were supposed to do. It wasn't like Nebraska. You'd be all up in arms if they would have came out like Nebraska and had that type of game against Nebraska. So when they do what they're supposed to do, give them their props. So if it had been anything other than that, y'all be ready to fire Ryan Day. Fire Ryan Day. He could barely beat Purdue, but I just gotta bring that up every now and then because you always got that but crowd. They're gonna find something to say about Ryan Day, regardless of what he does. And I say in these type of blowout games, I like the stuff that the folks have mentioned, Joe and Gus, about him giving up the play calling duties to Chip Kelly. Because in blowout games, you got opportunity to talk about stuff. It's no different. And it was like, 38-0 or so, and the person here even brought up, they go into analysis of Ryan Day's job. And I thought that was really good stuff, how they broke stuff down and how you may not want to necessarily get rid of Ryan Day because he's good at what he does. Not only does he have a record against these unranked teams, something that Urban Meyer, for all his credit for his national championship, couldn't do on a consistent basis as well as Ryan Day has to this point. Because Urban Meyer lost to some unranked teams that probably kept us from some more championships, but we ain't going to talk about that right now. But Ryan Day, he's good for this point in time, for the new landscape of college football. He's good. He's bringing in some coordinators. They handle the play calling. Now lets him focus on other stuff and managing the team, and he's good at that. But some folks, they ain't going to hear it. Case in point, some fans, they just want Ryan Day gone because he doesn't have the championship. He doesn't have the gaudy record against top 5 teams, which very seldom done unless your name's Nick Saban. Who else is going to have a stellar record against top 5 competition? Day's right where he's supposed to be in terms of that. And it ain't like he was getting blown out. And look at his losses. And it ain't like he's getting blown out. It's about 1-score games in a lot of these cases. And in most of these games, one call goes this way or another way, turning on the flags that came out. Who knows what we're talking about here? But so Ryan Day's good for what Ohio State needs right now. It's all about the coordinators, and he has good coordinators on staff. I think Chip Kelly, sometimes his play calling can be iffy or whatnot, but he's a phenomenal play caller, so he has the talent around him. Larry Johnson seems to be rejuvenated. We got Hartline and Laurinaitis. So we got some folks on the coaching staff, and so let's Ryan Day do what Ryan Day needs to do in terms of the whole overall managing of the stuff. And you just ain't going to get rid of Ryan Day. And when he has wins like this against these type of teams, just give him his props and move on. Move on. He's beating these unranked teams like he's supposed to. And yeah, all coaches can't say that this year. Especially this year. Top teams this year can't say that. Tell you, who would you rather be today? Ryan Day in Ohio State or Cristobal in Miami? Because they got worked. Miami got worked against Georgia Tech. And Miami's been playing on the edge all year. They've been able to come back. These fourth quarter comebacks. And Cam Ward getting all the lofty accolades and stuff because he's had to. So they ain't got no defense. Like, people want to talk about our defense. Whose defense would you rather have right now? Ohio State's defense, or Miami's defense, who can't stop nobody nobody. Like I said, several teams have Miami on the ropes this year, but Ward's been able to bail them out. Not so much against Georgia Tech. He had him stats-wise, he had him a good game. Can't argue that, but his fumble cost him the game at the end. Again, Miami been living on the edge. They finally caught up to him. Cam Ward, as good as he is, he had that fumble at the end, had some interceptions. So Miami goes down. Who else goes down? Georgia. Remember when the rankings first came out? Debate, who should be number 2, who should be number 3, Ohio State or Georgia? I guess that question got answered because Georgia looked bad. I know Mississippi ain't that good. They ain't that good. Carson Beck, for all the flack Will Howard get, and I give Will Howard on his deep balls. Other than that, Howard's been good. I think he's may have maybe just one bad decision all year when he threw in the double coverage or something. But who would you rather have right now? Will Howard or Carson Beck? Because Beck's thrown at least 2 interceptions. How many straight games now? At least 1. But I think it's been about two interceptions. How many straight games? How many turnovers has Carson Beck been involved with these last 5 games or something? They brought he has double-digit interceptions over these last 4 or 5 games. The Heisman front runner coming into the season, he's struggling, yo. He is struggling big time. And yes, I'm taking Will Howard at this point in time over Carson Beck because he get pressured. He don't look good. Seldom quarterbacks do, but Carson Beck, he just been bad. Is he the weak link of that offense? Some say he ain't got the receivers no more with Bowers and McConkey gone. That's why I'm glad we got our receivers. So for all you folks who keep saying we recruit too many receivers, see what happens when you lose 1 or 2 receivers? He ain't got no one to throw to, allegedly. But that's why Ohio State keep stocking up on those receivers. Because see what happened when you ain't got the receivers to throw to you think you have? I mean, Darius Smith, he ain't Jeremiah Smith. He's not a Booker. Emeka Ibuka. He's not Carnell Tate. Hell, he ain't even Brandon Ennis, easy. He ain't got no one to throw to. So that could be part of the problem. So, yeah, keep recruiting those receivers and bringing them on board. But who would you rather be right now? Or who would you rather have? Will Howard or Carson Beck? I'll take Will Howard and his underthrows any day right now over what Carson Beck has been doing this year. Cam Ward, all his gaudy stats. They want to call him a Heisman front runner. Fine, but he got to do that because the defense sucks. Give me Ohio State's defense any time of the day over Miami's defense. For all you guys want to bash Ohio State's defense, I take their defense over any other defense out there going right now. Georgia's defense didn't look all that. Mississippi, their dudes are talking about how Oregon receivers were running wide open against our secondary. Did y'all see that Ole Miss Georgia game? They had receivers open literally all game long. So I'll take our defense, period. Miami, I'll take our defense, period. So don't be careful what you wish for about some of these defenses because Ohio State defense is good and they playing they butts off. And before I move on from the Miami game, because I know in the past I brought up some of the targeting stuff. Now for those that watched that Miami game, when I say in the past they need levels of targeting, thankfully it didn't come up in this game. There were no targeting issues in the Purdue game. But go back and take a look at some of the calls that Ohio State players have been called for targeting, or just some of the targeting calls in general in other games that you guys may have watched. And look at the targeting call or the targeting that happened in that Miami Georgia Tech game, because that was borderline dangerous what went on in that particular game. And that's why you need, like in basketball, you got flagrant 1, flagrant 2. That's what they really need to do with this targeting call, because for those that saw it, the running back for Georgia Tech came up to the line, was running through the line, got his face mask. Someone grabbed his full face mask and damn near pulled the helmet off. So homeboy in the middle of all the action, all these big bodies flying around, and he trying to pull his helmet back on because he know what coming. And before he get it fully off, he got it on just enough, because just as he did, 280, 300-pound lineman just came and just took him out. If the dude would have been like 2 inches high, he would have hit, because his chin was exposed because the helmet damn near came off. And and can't blame the dude that came in and hit him, because he don't know the helmet getting ready to come off. He trying to make a play, but it was still a dangerous situation. Yeah, if he would have been, like say, the football's a game of inches, an inch higher, he probably would have connected straight on your dude's chin, crown of the helmet. That was a scary situation. I was actually scared for the dude when they showed the replay, and I was like, oh, thank God he was just hit him more in the neck area, but you could see potentially where that could have went if he had just struck it just a tad bit higher. And that's targeting. That's targeting flagrant 2 if they had such a thing. They need to get levels of targeting when they make these calls, instead of throwing kids out for some of these targeting calls that kids are getting thrown out for, like the Arvo Reese thing. Compare the Arvo Reese targeting call to the targeting that happened at Miami Georgia Tech game. You see there's a world of difference, and they need to take a look at that rule. All right, that's my been on targeting. Moving on. Other games that took place of note: Indiana. I was interested to see what they're going to do against Michigan. They beat Michigan. Michigan exposed them some, brought them back down to earth some, took some of that aura off of Indiana, so to speak, because Michigan was driving at the end of the game with a chance to win it. A chance to win it. 17-15, they had a chance to win that game. They had the last drive. Indiana held up, but they slowed Indiana down without Will Johnson. Indiana got off to a hot start, and Michigan, they said, not so fast. And Michigan, they showed a little bit of life. Still lost. Did they get a cheat sheet for this? Nah, I ain't gonna go there. I ain't gonna do it. But Michigan brought them down some. They made Indiana work. They had a lead again. Second week in a row, I believe Indiana was behind. They weren't used to that. So to their credit, they gritted one out. They gutted one out. So they know now they can win those type of games. But it wasn't pretty. I think they got exposed some, and it took some of that aura off of Indiana. They got some stuff to work on in their bye week, and it's going to be a dang good game. Another top 5 matchup. It should be, given way some of these other scores have played out. Georgia lost. Miami lost. Those number teams 3 and 4 both lost. Indiana should make a big jump. In my opinion, they should be number 4, right behind Texas, because I think they're better than Penn State. They're undefeated. Michigan's not ranked, but Michigan's they're like to say a known quantity. We know they got a good defense. And they won their toughest game to date on their schedule, even though Michigan is unranked. Penn State only lost to Ohio State, but they got a loss. I would rank Indiana in front of Penn State in the new rankings, but we will see how that plays out. And I'm going to get into my own top 25 here in the second. Everyone got a top 25. I ain't no different. I got my own top 25 that I'm going to run by everybody, and we'll see how you guys feel about that. Where my stuff go? But moving on. SEC, they say it was an elimination game in the SEC. Where that stuff go? You know how you hit your stuff here, and this stuff just up and walk away on you. Ain't that now? So I have to stick to my top 5. We'll get to that. But my top 10. Real simple. Got Oregon, without a doubt. Got Ohio State, without a doubt. Texas looked good against, it's Florida. Can't help but look good against Florida. And they're going to keep them. They're going to keep your boy. They're not going to get rid of him. They're going to keep Napier at Florida. I'm sorry, I'm still looking for my stuff here. Got it all written down, all nice and neat. And then, everyone has a plan till something happen. But I think I can remember it. I think I can remember who my top 10 is. Ohio State. Number 2, Texas. Number 3, I got Indiana clocking in at number 4. I got them over Penn State. And how's about that? 4. Remember when this all started? Ooh, the SEC going to dominate the ranking. Not so fast. It's Big Ten dominating the rankings. We top heavy. And that's what you say about the SEC. They top heavy, but they beating each other up. Because Big Ten, we ain't really beat each other up yet, because a lot of us don't play one another. We ain't playing each other this year like in years past, But Oregon, they only had to play Ohio State. They ain't have to play none of the other folks in the top. Ohio State's the only one who had to play everybody. Had to play Oregon, Penn State, and unbeknownst to us, Indiana. Another top 5 match. I think by the time it's all said and done, Ohio State's going to have to play 3 top 5 teams for all said and done. If they take care of business against Northwestern. But I got Indiana number 4, Penn State number 5, Tennessee by default. By default, number 6, I think. Oh my God, then we got BYU up there, Notre Dame's all up in there because they ain't lost. It's hard to get teams up there they ain't lost. I think gonna put Alabama back up in there, so they done make because they blew out LSU, but so it's gonna be interesting the rest of the year. It's gonna be exciting. We thought it was gonna be not so exciting with the 12-team playoff, but this is actually exciting because you got a lot more teams. You got a lot to play for. It's going to be interesting how this plays out because if Georgia loses to Tennessee, they ain't going to even make the SEC championship game, and they shouldn't make the playoffs. Who thought that would ever happen? That Georgia does not make a 12-team playoff. If Alabama should lose again, that Alabama does not make a 12-team playoff because they got 3 losses. It's a possibility. It is a possibility. It's exciting because I ever said if Ryan Day doesn't make a 12-team playoff, something wrong. Because you think in an expanded field, as many times as we made a 4-team playoff field, if we don't make a 12-team playoff field, something wrong. But we got a good chance of Alabama not making it and Georgia not making it. So we'll see how that plays out. But next week, got to take care of business first. No more letdown. Can't have a letdown. They haven't let down yet. I think they sort of built that momentum. You know how we built that momentum throughout the course of the year to our last national championship? That build on that momentum slowly built. Our offensive line that year got better. Are we trending in that same direction? You know, we will see next week if they come out and do the same thing against Northwestern, which they should do. I believe they are 30-point plus favorites again, and they should do it again. So then get ready for Indiana. They should, again, be resting our guys for the fourth quarter, getting ready for this Indiana game because you know they're going to be watching it because they on a bye week. And they got work to do. I think Michigan humbled them some. They're going to make them want to go back and get to work some. So that should be a great matchup in a couple weeks. But first thing first, they got to handle Northwestern. And again, congrats to Jeremiah Smith, the freshman phenom. And before we get out of here, we get hard. I said I do more than just the football. I try to follow Ohio State in general. The hard court's back up. The basketball's up and going. And if folks ain't checking out our basketball teams, please do, because you talking about some freshmen. Football ain't got the only freshman on campus. Got to check out our women's team. If you haven't seen her already, she was the number 2 overall recruit, Jelani Cambridge, and her freshman debut, she laid it down. She announced herself to the whole NCAA that she is here. 31 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, 5 steals. I'm going to miss J.C. Sheldon, but not as much. If Jelani could keep playing like that, because I love me some J.C. Sheldon, but if Jelani could keep playing like that, our team it's going to be another hard out for folks trying to take on Ohio State, because we got a lot coming back, and she's going to be leading the charge, it seems. So Jelani Cambridge, if you haven't checked her out, please check out her next game when Ohio State takes the court again. And speaking of freshmen, can't leave out the men. The men got their own freshmen as well. I thought we were going to miss Jamison Battle, some of this 3-point shooting, but if you haven't seen what the men did to Texas, our men, Texas was ranked, our guys weren't. We beat them easily, actually. And part of that was we had our own freshman 3-point sharpshooter, Junie Mobley, a mini microwave. Y'all remember Vinnie Johnson from back in the day? He just came off the bench, lighting it up. My God, if Junie did not do the same thing, he went 4 for 4 from 3-point range. One of them was logo deep. No fear at all. So check out our freshmen, check out our men's and women's basketball teams, because they might just they going to be good. I think our women's team is going to be good. Our men's team might be better than what people are going to give them credit for, but you haven't checked them out, please start checking them out. And so, yeah, a lot of good stuff going, a lot of good freshmen here on campus in a variety of sports. So a lot of stuff to look forward to besides just football, because It's going to be exciting. An exciting fall campaign in the sports world here at Ohio State. So, but you know how I do it. Again, hit that like button. Please, please, please subscribe. Help a brother grow this thing out. And until next time, OHIO, go Bucks. I'm out.